Yes, and good morning, and welcome once again to Tag Radio. This is the ATN show. I am your host, Mike DeRay, and today I'm joined with the most fantastic and amazing Mr. Kazeem. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike. It's a pleasure to finally be on your show.
Man, the pleasure is all mine. It's been a long time coming.
Right.
It's been a minute since we've last kicked it on the radio. How have you been?
I've been great. Well, I headed back into the gym, working out, a lot more walks, a lot more mind, trying to just, get things out of my mind, and a lot more reading as well. I'm reading a few books this month actually, so a lot of work on myself. So yeah,
fantastic. You know what? I'm a bit triggered from the gym thing. As you can see, I've been away from the gym for a minute, so I'm gonna have to join you in that endeavor.
Of course,
we'll make it a date.
I mean, you can start by what I do. I have a plan. Have some sort of workout plan. But it's not just about you having a workout plan, but it's about what you eat as well. So I'm very mindful now. I drink lots of water, eat lots of fruits, veg, and sometimes steak, meat, beef, salmon, and then try and go for a run, go for walks. Because some people, they just work out, but they don't take the time to get out of the gym and, enjoy nature, go for walks, go for a run, sit under a tree, suck up the sun, type thing. Yeah.
That vitamin D is actually really is.
Very essential.
It's very essential,
of course.
Especially for a certain type of people. But yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. We don't take your presence here for granted. And yeah, I just want to appreciate you. Guys, welcome. It's been an eventful week. Just to recap on some of the stuff we were talking about last week. So once again, our thoughts and prayers go to the people of Kenya and anyone that's involved or may have been affected by the riots that happened recently. I heard it was on Tuesday that more people there were more casualties in these riots. All of this stems from a finance bill that the president of Kenya put in place, and I believe, if my information serves me well, hold on, guys. I don't want to talk out my ignorance. So it says that the bill the plan for the bill was to raise about $2.7 billion from taxation, whether that be income tax or stuff like that. And at first, it was received with good news because I believe Kenya is in a large amount of debt, something to do with borrowing from maybe countries or banks in Europe. I still need to do further research on that. But this was the cause as to why the president introduced this bill, and people in his cabinet, people around him were like, great, now we've got a plan to get out of debt. But unfortunately, with these things and taxations, it affects everyday working class people, as well as affluent people. It affects people, and this was the cause of the protest. And wisely, I want to obviously a round of applause to the president for stepping back, getting out of his way and saying, the people have spoken. Let's address and give the people what they want. I feel like that's a sign of a great leader.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But which also brings us back to, or leads us nicely into our next section, which is about finance.
Of course.
Yeah, it's about finance, because the issue that we're seeing in Kenya stems from what I believe an incident where somebody or an entity borrowed money, and it doesn't seem like there was a plan to pay that money back.
Typical. Very typical.
So in that regard, and also I guess this also encapsulates what I was touching on last week about mental health. Sometimes men, they don't have their finances in order, and this could be one of the things that leads into deep depression, mental health issues, and stuff like that. So I want to ask you, sir,
Of course.
what are some tips you can give to some young men, some men that are stepping into places of wealth? What are some tips you can give us how to manage our finances, or just how to go about our finances intelligently?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wow, they don't pay me enough to do these talks, but okay. I'll
So
see.
guys, you better make sure you like, subscribe, share. You're gonna get some sweet information here. Get your pen and paper out. Take notes, guys.
Wow.
Take notes.
I mean, firstly, I would encourage your listeners out there, especially those who are from the BME community, those who are just, stepping into, maybe they're working now, they're making some money and they want to maybe like, increase their wealth. The first thing to always do is to read. Read, and I'm gonna recommend a few books. There is the Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, that book literally changed my view on when money is actually, as far as money, managing money is actually concerned. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything, because you can be making $100 million a year, but you're still broke. And you could be earning just ordinary 30,000 per year, but your management of that money is literally increasing other revenue streams for you because of how you manage it.
Wow.
And
So is it possible for somebody to be earning? Because to me that sounds impossible. Somebody to be earning close to $1 million, but still be in a financial state of brokenness.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, somebody with 30K
Yeah.
is living a very sensible and
Yeah.
affluent financial lifestyle.
in the course of my career, I've spoken to people or even coached people, like literally these guys are rich, like money rich, but they go skink quick. Why? Because there is a mentality they have towards money that needs to be changed.
Oh, wow.
So for example, when I'm going back to my point of start reading books, number one, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad and Poor Dad, he talked a lot about the rat race, and those rich guys I'm talking about, they got stuck in the rat race, which I will come to in just a minute.
Okay.
There's another book, Think and Grow Rich, by
Rich.
Napoleon Hill. Oh goodness me, that book really, literally, I mean, if you're into investing, you're into, that type of thing, Think and Grow Rich, that book is very, very good to actually read. So I'm going to recommend those two books. Now, coming back to your point of, people who earn 100 mil or however they earn, and, and people who may potentially earn maybe 30, maybe managing that money better than those people who earn 100 mil, what have you. Now I'll come on to explain that. It's a mentality thing.
Okay.
Managing money that's why it's good to read books, and also go to networking events as well.
Okay.
To meet people who are doing this for real, who are managing money better than you. People, wow, like how do you do that? How do you flip that? How do you double that? Now the reason why people go broke really quickly is because they don't live within, simple answer, they don't live within their means. So the guy earning, I don't know, 100K a year is probably not living within his means. It feels the need to, I'm earning 100K a year now, I need to drive a Range Rover. I'm not saying you shouldn't drive a Range Rover, as long as you can afford it and it's not costing you. Yeah. Maybe there's,
Oh, sorry. Let me I just, because I feel like that was a nugget there that we could have just
missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it is not costing.
It's no cost to you.
Okay.
So what people, I'll give you an example. Take Jay-Z, for example, one of my financial idols. Are you aware that Jay-Z don't wear any brands? It doesn't really, when you see him casually, you wouldn't know, and if he's going to wear a brand, is at no cost to him.
Oh, wow.
Because people are throwing that brand at him for him to wear. It's not buying it with his own personal assets, not buying it with its own personal money. And I'll come on to that in a minute. That may be too far-fetched. Now, when you are earning, the first thing you want to do is to stay within your means. You have to look at it like, first, you have to survive first. You have to survive. So if you're earning 30K a year, what's the point of flossing? What's the point of trying to be somebody you're not based on the income you're actually earning? The rich guys, I mean, if you look, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, the owner of Facebook,
yeah.
if you see the way he dresses, you wouldn't know this guy is crazy mega rich. Or
yeah, very generic.
Very you understand? Because these guys know the importance. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. What do you want? Do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy?
Oof.
You can be rich, cool, right? That's nice. But you could be, wealth is about, when you're wealthy, that means you're creating wealth for your generations to come. It's not just about being rich. It's not just about being rich. It's about creating wealth. And how do you do that? One, live within your means. The first thing I would say to people is live within your means. If you're earning 30K a year, and you're probably earning, I don't know, £3,000 per month, what's the point of paying a rent or of £2,000 a month? What's the point? Who are you trying to prove a point to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you probably, if you're earning 3K a month, you want to see how can I save the maximum. I mean, if you're earning 3K a month, I mean, you want to maybe save 2,000 a month, but you don't save for the sake of saving. You save to invest.
Okay.
You're saving to invest that money. So that £2,000 you're saving, maybe and now this is where planning comes in.
Yep.
So for example, you're earning 3K, a month after tax, right? And you want to buy a property. I don't know, maybe your first property is about 250K. Property is good business because you can earn you good money. So you probably want to start saving 2,000 a month so you can save up your deposit over a period of time and building your credit. Because if you don't have a good credit, chances are you're not going to get a mortgage. And there are many ways to build up your credit. One of the ways is by having a credit card. And that's just one. That's just one.
You know what? I was hoping you would not say the taboo word. I think in our community, in the BME community, that CC, that credit card, has been the cause of so much trouble and heartache. Even myself personally, growing up, I've seen the damage credit cards can do in a family, and it got to a point where we were literally with scissors cutting these plastic things in half, like they were the cause of all our problems. But now you're saying that actually it's a tool to be used in a positive way.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That is an amazing question. Now, in our community, we need to unlearn a lot of things that we have learned. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to throw shades, but I'm saying that there's a lot of things that could be used to our advantage. But the way is, for example, having a common life insurance, it's a taboo to some people.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of these things that we classify as taboo is by virtue of the mentality. Hence the reason I said earlier, read books. You need to read. You need to read far and wide. Like, I love to read like far and wide because I learned that. No disrespect to our upbringing and some of the things that they've told us. They told us in view of the fact that they want us not to have a bad name or a bad record or what have you. But if you really look at it, some of these things can actually, why would they tell me not to have a credit card? They probably told you not to have a credit card because of your impulses, your impulse spending habits. You're not maximizing that credit card to your own advantage, but you're using it to your own detriment. Some people will use credit card to, I don't know, have a lavish wedding ceremony, spend everything on the credit card, and now they're in debt. Whereas it could be you could have used that credit card to do good business. You could have used your credit in that credit card, procure, set up some sort of business, buy a few products, sell it, make revenue from that, pay off your credit card, and you've still got profit to run your business with. But unfortunately, in our community, people see credit card as a way of, oh yeah, and then they spend, this, and what they spend on are actually perishable items.
Oh wow.
Perishable products. It's not an asset. It's not making you money.
No, you're 100% right, and that's accurate. That relates to what I remember. So the way I saw credit cards, or what I learned about credit cards, was that once your money ran out, your credit card was like your emergency funds that you use once your money ran out. Like, oh, okay, if let's say something's come up and it needs a financial commitment. Well, I've sort of taken care of my bills for the month, and okay, now let's use the plastic. Let's use the credit card to do that, and then we'll sort it out later. But from what I'm gathering, that is totally the wrong way to go about it.
I mean, there's nothing wrong in using your credit card to buy minute items. For example, I've got a credit card, and if, for example, say just for example, say you have £10,000 of credit on your credit card. I wouldn't advise you to spend it at a go.
Okay.
I wouldn't advise that, because if you spend a whole lot of that 10 grand, where is the money coming from for you to pay it back like that? So if you have 10 grand worth of credit in your credit card, I would advise to spend little bits of it, maybe £200 here, pay it right back, £100 there, pay it right back, £500 there, pay it right back. What you're doing is you're creating an history of you paying your credit on time.
Oh wow.
Because there is a danger if you spend the whole 10 grand, you may not have that money at your disposal. 10 grand is quite a lot of money.
I don't
you
know
may not
quite
have
a few.
that money.
I don't know a few people that have 10 grand like that to just throw.
To throw it on a credit card. So what you want to do? That's one way. You buy, maybe you do grocery shopping, for example. Put it on your credit card. Maybe you spend 300 odd pounds there, pay that right back. So you're creating that relationship, and you're building trust with your lender, and what they can see from your record is that, wow, he pays it back on time, and he doesn't pay minimum payment, because some of this credit card has minimum payment, for example. So if you say, for example, you had £500 limit on your actual credit card, they may say, oh, your minimum payment is, I don't know, 20 quid. Don't pay the 20 quid, pay the whole lot. It's only 500 quid. Pay the whole lot back.
I said it's
and
only
you're
500
basically
quid.
developing a trust relationship. So at the time, if you wanted to increase your credit, that commitment of you paying it back before the deadline is already there. But unfortunately, in our community, what they tend to do is to spend their credit card, spend their money, and then they get on items, and they get in a position where they're in debt. They can actually pay it back. Another way to also that you can also build your credit is, for example, if you have a credit card and you have 10,000 odd pounds, credit on your credit card, you could take 1,000 out of that, do a lucrative business.
Wow.
So for example, if you spend say you were selling products on, I don't know, Amazon, for example, you do a good research, you find out what brand moves on Amazon, because you could spend that £1,000 on procuring products, and you don't shift them, and they don't market you, and then you're stuck. What you want to do is make sure, okay, is this a viable market? Is this a viable product? If I actually procure these items, are they gonna move? So you have to have that conviction within yourself, and then you follow your gut. In business, for me, I follow my gut. I research, but at the end of the day, it boils down to you following your gut feeling about this. And sometimes my gut feeling, you may not necessarily agree with it, but I try. I mean, I've learned sometimes follow your heart, because sometimes people can talk you out of it, and then you're like, oh my goodness, I was supposed to do that. I missed that opportunity. I should have listened to myself. So for me, I'm quite stubborn when it comes to business. If I believe in something, if I'm passionate about something, I'm not easily led. I'm not easily influenced. I follow it. I follow it through.
Okay.
And then sometimes it works. I'll be honest. Sometimes it doesn't work. But there are lessons learned. I keep it moving. I don't cry over spilled milk. I keep it moving. Okay, that was a bad business decision. Fine, I lost a couple of bucks. That's cool. Move on to the actual next, right? Because there are lessons learned. So coming back to the issue of credit card, if you have a strong conviction of, oh, if I buy those Walker's crisp and I sell it on Amazon for this much, I'm going to earn that much. And so long as there is a market there, try it, sell it. So what you might see is that you've spent £1,000 on procuring these products. You've sold it on, whatever platform you actually sell it. So you've made, you've made additional £2,000.
Wow.
So that means that £1,000 that you initially used from your credit card, you could pay that back because now you've got additional revenue stream to keep that business afloat.
Oh, wow.
So it's all about money management, moving money around. Unfortunately, these are the things that they don't teach us in school. Or our community, because our community, they tell, oh, credit card, you're going to be in debt. But why are you really going to be in debt? You're only going to be in debt if you're impulse spending on a credit card or spending your credit card on items that are not assets, that are not going to make you money. You think I have 10 grand on a credit card, I won't buy a Rolex? A Rolex wristwatch is non-perishable. I can pawn that. I can pawn it.
Yeah.
It
might actually go up in value.
It might go up in value. So you are. Or if you buy gold.
Yeah.
Or if you buy gold. These are products that are non-perishable. If you go to a pawn shop right now and you pawn that gold, you know how much you're gonna get for it. But unfortunately, our community, they tend to spend money on things that are perishable, things that won't necessarily make you money in the long run.
Yeah.
That's why I said earlier, it's about change on learning that mentality, on learning the things that we've learned growing up that has actually stuck to us like clothes. But we now have to look at things differently. Like, how can I make a negative situation work for me? Or a situation that once considered negative, how can I make it work for me? It's about money management. How do you manage your money? Now, credit card is not the only way you can improve your credit score. It's also about paying your bills on time. Your direct, for example, your direct debits, paying them on time. If you look at your credit score and you've missed just late payments, if it's a one-off, that's understandable. Things happen. Right, things happen. You could be sick, whatever the case may be, and that's by virtue of that. But if there is a repeated late payments,
that's not.
How are you going to explain that? Like every 28th of the month, you're supposed to pay this bill, right? For example, your council tax, right? For example, you're supposed to pay that every 28th of the month, but you're always defaulting.
Oh wow!
And by virtue of that, there are repeated late payments on your credit score. How do you explain that? So that basically what the lender is, you're financially irresponsible.
Yeah.
That's the way they see it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, so you know what? That is amazing. That's fantastic. But let me just wrap my head around the concept. So in terms of credit cards, you mentioned two strong concepts there. One is impulse buying. So that is a big no-no. And I guess the way I would put it in layman's terms is, don't spend it on the credit card if you don't already have it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, don't spend it on the card if you don't already have it. So if you are going to make small purchases, whether it be your shopping or whatever, make sure you have that money in your account, or you're going to have that money in your account before the due date. Because from what I'm hearing, it makes more sense to pay for it with your credit card and get the benefit of, having good records on your credit card, rather than spending it on your debit card and not reaping any benefits from it.
Absolutely. So just to buttress that, before you spend on your credit card or spend out from your actual credit card, make sure you have the money somewhere.
Okay.
So, for example, if I wanted to, I don't know, put £100 petrol in my car, I already have that money sitting somewhere, but I'm just choosing to spend it from my credit card.
Okay.
Because you can kill two birds with one stone. So instead of me spending it from my debit card, that's doing nothing for me.
Yeah.
If I spend it from my debit card, it's doing nothing for me.
Nothing for your credit score.
Nothing for my credit. It's just in my debit card.
Not even cashback.
Right. So the money is in my debit card. However, I've got for example, I've got £100 in my credit card. So what I would do is maybe spend 50 or 60 odd pounds from my credit card, right? So when it's time for me to repay, I just move the money from my debit card and pay off my credit card. Because if I spent it off my debit card,
no benefit.
There's no benefit of that for me. But because I've used my credit card to buy that petrol, but the money was already there somewhere. Now I've used that money to pay back my credit card. What that means, it improves my credit. And I think when you do pay your credit card, I think within 2 working days, that money is in your actual credit card. So I've got money to also spend.
Oh wow, yeah. So
my credit card.
You brought yourself back up
I've brought myself. I've covered that actual expense. It's shown that I've paid that bill before the actual deadline.
Oh, wow.
And I've also got money at my disposal because I've paid that. So that £60 will reflect back in my credit card. So I've got that money back to also spend.
Fantastic.
So it's working. That money is working for me.
For me.
Yeah.
So so now that solves the solution. Solves the solution. That is the solution to some of the stuff that I heard growing up, you know. Rather than people using the credit card as an overdraft, you use it normally and then cover it with your money. You know, it's almost like investing into the account to show good credit.
Essentially, I mean, overdraft and credit card are two separate things.
Okay.
Because you've got with the overdraft is normally in your current account.
Okay.
Right, and you know, hopefully people are not doing unarranged overdraft. You are doing arranged overdraft. Yeah. So basically, if you had insufficient funds in your account, which hopefully you don't, insufficient funds in your account will automatically go into your arranged overdraft.
Okay.
Right. So that means that you're minus on your overdraft, which you would need to pay back, otherwise you would incur interest.
Yeah.
So my thing to your listeners is that even though you've got the overdraft there, try not to use it, because if you're constantly having insufficient funds in your account and you're slipping into overdraft, yes, you're paying it back, but technically it's not a good look because you have insufficient funds in your account. That's the reason why you're slipping into overdraft. So why not, you know, I'm not saying don't use your overdraft, you know, but why not try to make sure you always have sufficient funds in your account in the first place?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas your credit card is separate. Your credit card is your credit. The reason why you got a credit card is because you had a good credit in the first place.
Okay.
Because if you don't have a good credit, you're not going to get a credit card. So you want to use that credit card to your advantage by consistently building it up. Okay. Spend here and there, pay you right back. Spend here and there, pay you right back. Spend here and there, pay you right back. It shows in your record that your credit trustworthy. And what that does is that if you wanted to apply for a mortgage, or you wanted to apply for, I don't know, which I'm not going to advise people to do.
Yeah, of course.
What if you wanted to do like a car loan? You know, most people would do. Most of these guys that drive these big cars, they probably had a car loan, you know,
honestly,
and they are paying it off.
Sometimes, man, you go to some places, some areas, especially in Essex and London, you see the cars people are driving, you start sweating. You're like,
But you have to understand that these guys have built up that credit to that point. And that brings me on to what they don't even talk about in our community. You know, number one, investing. You know, which I might have to come back on your show and talk a lot about.
In fact, I think we need to join Kazeem on his show.
Absolutely.
Yes. What time is your show?
My show normally starts at 2 to 3, and it's a youth scene show. I mean, I'm going to be talking a lot more about, maybe not this week, maybe another time. I'll probably talk a lot about investing and bring a couple of guys on to come and talk to us about investing as well. People don't talk about investing in our communities, investing in FMCG, equities, investing in shares, stocks,
Yeah.
target date funds. People don't talk about investing and why it's important for you to save to invest, because that's one of the way you could be financially free when you're investing. People don't talk about treasury bills. People don't talk about things like that.
You're speaking a totally different language, so I'm gonna rewind this episode back, take notes, and then go and Google like what you just said there. The last 30 seconds, just go back and Google, and because, like you said, these aren't things that we're taught in our community. We're not taught these things in school, but they're key tools to accessing or gaining or building wealth and richness, which is very important, very important. But yeah, just to come back, use your credit card when you have the money to cover the bill. That's key point number one. But also, interestingly, key point number two, use your credit card as a business vehicle to maybe purchase and sell goods and make more money from the initial purchase with that credit card. So that way you pay back your credit card and you have some profit on top. You know what that's called? Free money.
Continue your business operation. And I'll also say read. For me, all this knowledge came I wasn't taught this in school, even though I did accounting and finance in my first degree, and I wasn't actually taught the principles, the etiquettes of managing money and making money work for you. What uni did for me, in my first degree when I did my accounting and finance, they trained me to be a wonderful accountant. They trained me, they taught me all profitability, liquidation, cash flow, what's that thing called, liability, assets. They taught me all these different things. But when I came into the real world, and I was like, you know what, I need to do my own research and start reading people's biography. People like Warren Buffett, for example, Robert Kiyosaki, Dangote. How did these guys?
Does Dangote have a biography?
You could actually get books about Dangote. You can go online.
Oh wow!
And just research books about him, because I know that his uncle borrowed him money, and that was the money he used to start his empire.
Oh wow!
And these guys started from a very young age. There's something about these guys that they don't teach us this in school. So you have to teach yourself. You have to, as I said earlier, unlearn whatever it is they've taught you and go be a go-getter. Go out there. No one can teach you money. You have to go out there and teach yourself by reading into people. Like people like Warren Buffett, Jay-Z, for example. Jay-Z was a street hustler. Yep. Jay-Z knew, one thing about Jay-Z is that he knew numbers, he knew maths. You understand? He knew maths. So I don't support the business he did in the street. I don't condone that. But what I'm saying is that his intelligence that he applied until today, is still applying that intelligence. Hence the reason is Jay-Z, more-time billionaire now.
Yeah, multi-billionaire.
So you have to go back and do that research. Read these different people. Read how did they do it? How did they start? As I said, read that Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There are many other books I could actually recommend, but you have to pay me for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information out there, so that is at the disposal of my generation. And there is this book as well, The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah.
My mentor gave that to me, and I read that. Shout out to Pastor Benga Lawa, if you're listening in. He gave me, and that book really, at first it traumatized me at first, but this is great content. Read that book, and then and also give your look. Nobody is putting pressure to be great right now. Greatness is not something that happens 1 year, 2 years. Greatness takes time. And my generation, you're not giving yourself enough time to be great. When you look at the Wayans brothers, right? What's his name that I always listen to? I can't remember his name now, but it was in was it Friday or
Scary movie.
and White Chicks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those two brothers. He said something that really touched me. He said, "Don't let people put pressure on you to be great right now, because true greatness takes time." It took Warren Buffett time to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
It took Jay-Z time to be a billionaire. It took what's his name? Dangote time to be a billionaire. So no one is saying you have to be a billionaire right now. But what we are saying is take decisive steps, intentional steps that will promote you into becoming a billionaire over time. But a billionaire starts with your mindset. You need to have the mindset of a billionaire right now. So you can't say, oh, when I get there. No, you need to have that mindset now and keep cultivating that mindset. That's how you become a billionaire. Now, when I talk about cultivating that mindset, that means you're going to be doing intentional things. You're going to be reading biographies. You're going to be reading books. You're going to be intentional about managing your money. So, for example, if you're only earning 35K a year, that's maybe in a month, that's about, I don't know, say 2,800 odd pounds a month. You're going to be intentional about how you manage that money. Even if it means, do you know what? I'm just going to rent a room in a house, pay maybe $750 a month, bill inclusive. So I've got that disposable income to myself. Sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to get out of your own convenience, because, so that way you've got that much disposable income coming in. If you're earning £2,800 a month, and you're only spending $750 bill plus bill inclusive, that means you've got all that money to think about. Oh, I need to save this money. Oh, I need to invest in this. I need to get this property. It may not be the property you want to move into. It may be a buy to let. Maybe you want to go to auction, buy that particular property, spend additional 20, 30 odd grand, do it up and rent it out. So you've got additional income stream coming in. So now that money can afford you a place, your dream house. But what most people tend to do, oh, I'm working right now. Oh, I'm saving up money. I want to buy. It may not be the house you want to live in yet. You may want to buy the house by way of additional income stream. Look at the way the Asians actually, the Asians actually, some of them, they stay in their mother's house. They stay in their mom's house. They stay in their dad's house. And what they do is that they save all that money and buy property upon property upon property, buy to let, rent it out, make additional income stream. So one person could potentially be making 20 odd grand a month.
Oh, wow.
So now they've positioned themselves to buy their dream house. So when they move out, and you see them living in a mansion, that's because they did the work.
And the planning.
So greatness is about planning, and it's about giving yourself time and taking intentional steps. It may take you 10, in some cases, it may take you 2 years. It may take you 10 years. It may take you 5 years. But never get to a position where, oh, I'm 40. Oh, don't let your age be the factor. Don't let your age be, because I've seen many people in our society, oh, I need to get married right now. Oh, because of my age. But you're getting married to what? A guy to, or you're getting married to a woman or a guy who are not financially responsible, who haven't actually taken the time to cultivate themselves and develop themselves in the area of their finances. What's going to happen? Both of you are going to be broke. First, number one, and number two, the killer in marriage is when there's no money. So why don't you give yourself enough time to develop, cultivate yourself, develop yourself, and grow your finances? So when you when you make that big decision to get married,
you're financially
responsible. You're financially secure, and you're not struggling. That's my advice to your listeners and viewers out there. Take the time to cultivate yourself first. Read books. This knowledge don't come just like that. You have to read books and take notes and go to networking events and start doing something. Start taking decisive steps. For somebody out there, it may be, do you know what? I've had that business idea of buying and selling. it's time for me to hit it off the ground. Do you know what? I've had that idea of investing. It's time for me to hit it off the ground. Or this particular show may challenge someone to go back and review their finances. What are the things I'm spending on that is taking money away from me? That those are not, when we look at expenses, we have mandatory expenses and we have expenses that are not so mandatory. What I mean by that is, for example, your council tax is mandatory because if you don't pay your council tax, there are consequences.
Yeah.
If you don't pay your rent or you don't pay your mortgage, there are consequences for that. But there are some expenses that are not necessarily mandatory. For example, if you stop going to the gym, you are paying £50 every month on gym. You stop paying that £50 every month, for example, and then you can look at, doing your exercise naturally, going for a run, doing push-ups, pending the time you bounce back. So that £50 you're paying for that gym, you don't need to. That £50 can be going into your savings to save to invest. So you look at areas, maybe you're going too much on a night out, you're spending too much on Chinese. Look at the areas where you are overspending, where you spend, look at those areas. That money can come to you and you can use that money to invest in other areas to bring you more money for you to live a good lifestyle that you want to live. Many of our people in our community, they are living a lifestyle that you're just keeping up with the Benjamins, but there is no Benjamins, if you get what I'm saying.
To keep up.
To keep up that particular lifestyle.
And
you also have to look at, for example, the reason why I love investing is that you become a shareholder or a stakeholder. So for example, if I loved Nike, for example, I love me a pair of Nike, my birthday's coming soon, so feel free to cut me a pair of Nikes. So if I love Nike trainers, for example, and I see myself spending,
what's your shoe size for the listeners out there?
If you I'm a size 9. If you want to bless me with a pair of Nikes, what have you, I'm a size 9. That's absolutely fine by me.
Fantastic.
But if you actually look at it, why not go to Nike Town? Why not invest in Nike? Why not become a shareholder in Nike? You know what happens is that when they release new pairs of Nike, the shareholders, they get them for free.
Oh, wow.
I ain't gonna pay for it because I'm a shareholder. I'm giving you money. I'm basically sponsoring Nike. I'm supporting Nike with my money for you to produce more trainers. So when they produce that wonderful, as the Americans will call it, sneakers, right? The only sneakers I know is that chocolate bar. But anyway, different conversation. But when they produce those Nike trainers, you get a pair for free because I'm actually a shareholder of that particular company. I'm giving you money. I'm not just getting a free pair of Nike trainers, but also when it sells, my share is going up.
Wow.
I get paid.
So,
I get dividend.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid because I'm a shareholder for Nike.
So you get the free product, you market it for free, people buy it, and then your shares or what you get paid back goes up.
Exactly. So look at it. If you are
investing,
look at, whether you want to invest in Virgin Atlantic, in, British Airways, you want to invest in, look around you. For me personally, I don't do investment. This is where I'm a bit different. I don't do investment by the books. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I invest in things I'm passionate about. Okay. Like I love fashion, right? So if I love that pair of denim jeans, instead of me going to Selfridges or going to Westfield and spending £80 on that denim jeans, why not invest that £80 in that denim jeans?
Oh wow!
But people don't think like that.
No,
see?
they don't. Yeah.
Invest that £80 you're gonna spend on that denim, a proper, authentic denim jeans. If you go to Westfield, you're looking at a good denim is about 70 quid, 80 quid. So that £80 I'm gonna spend on that denim jeans. Why don't I invest it in the denim jeans and become a shareholder?
I'm sure for most people, at least for me, £80 sounds like it's too little to become an investor in anything, But that's what I'm saying. If you don't have these conversations, if people don't tell you, you won't know. That's opened up a whole new. So now, from now on, the aim is everything that I spend my money on, I purchase. I think, how much would it cost for me to invest in this business?
And you can go online. You can literally go. I mean,
And
you've
check
got.
for
I mean,
free.
I'm not trying to promote these investment companies.
Yeah.
They're just by way of my own personal opinion.
And this isn't financial advice.
This isn't
all.
financial advice. I must say, according to FCA, just in case, FCA and the FFC, which is a Financial Conduct Authority, and the FSCS, Financial Services Compensation Scheme, just in case there's anybody out there who are listening in or who are viewing who probably work for these authorities. I don't want you to sue me, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not giving you financial advice, all right? This is not by way of financial advice, but this is by way of giving free information. There's a difference between information and advice.
Yep.
This is just information.
Yep.
You have to take the liberty to do your own research. And if you are going to get yourself involved in anything, make sure you are consulting with an experienced and qualified financial advisor.
Hopefully fiduciary.
Before you,
Is it fiduciary?
Yeah, financial advisory.
Financial advisory.
Make sure you are consulting, before you take any action, all right? Because if you do invest, there is also that likelihood you can lose lots of money just to prepare you. So make sure you are consulting with the financial experts to make sure you get sound advice, because the financial advisors, their advice is usually indemnified, okay? So make sure you are consulting with those guys before you get into anything. Again, just in case anybody out there who are your viewers or who are listening in, I have to say this, just by way of disclaimer. I'm not giving anybody financial advice. It's just information. Coming back, just to close off on your point, for me, again, I invest in what I'm passionate about. Like, I love arts, right? So if you, for example, it could be you investing in a painting by, I don't know, Basquiat.
Yeah.
It could be you investing in, Michael Jackson's catalog, because
Good luck.
because they think about good luck. You need money for that.
Yeah,
But the thing is that the thing about it is this, right? When the artist dies, their work appreciates more.
Yeah.
If you look at one of the biggest catalog of Michael Jackson is Thriller. Thriller. If you invest in that, for example, what you're technically doing is that you're buying the rights to that album. So every time any song on that album get played on the radio, MCP is covered by MCPS and PRS. MCPS, for those who don't know, is Mechanical Copyright Protection Society, and PRS is Performing Rights Society. So every time that song it gets played on radio, you get paid. Every time it's streamed on Spotify, Apple, Tidal, whatever platforms, legitimate platforms, by the way, you get paid. So for me, I love music. So I've always wanted to invest in music, invest in the arts, invest in fashion, invest in business, whatever my taste buds are, whatever I love. And sometimes I do it by the books. I look at for those, you can also look on Financial Times. Those of you who are financial literate, you can actually, Financial Times is not free, by the way. You have to subscribe for it and pay your monthly
investment,
fee. And there's so much information on Financial Times. As I said as well, there are books you can read, there are networking events you can go to, there are clubs you can belong to, and go to those networking events and get more information, and then begin to, but for those who are not up there, those who are just starting out, I would suggest you do a review of your finances first and foremost. Look at the things you're spending your money on. Look at the things you don't need to spend money on, that you can conserve that money, you can save that money to yourself, and begin to talk to banks. I'm not promoting this in investment companies, but you could talk to companies like Fidelity International. they do a lot of investment. Or you can go online and just type in investment companies in the UK and begin to talk, book appointment with them, begin to talk to them. But one of the things I would advise people to do is to invest in targeted fund. Targeted fund is a combination of equities, and I believe shares. So you're getting three of best. I wouldn't advise you to invest all your money in equities or invest all your money in funds or invest all your money in shares. You can develop a portfolio by investing across the board. You can invest a couple in equities, invest a couple in shares, invest a couple in funds, invest a couple in treasury bills, and develop your investment portfolio. And and it's quite easy to actually do. Just talk to the companies, talk to them, talk to me if you actually want to. And then you can also look at, one of the lucrative opportunities is property, real estate. But people think, oh, it's going to take time. No, real estate is about planning. It's about how you want to do it, save up your money, buy it. There's many ways to go about it. And most importantly, while you're doing all these things, it's about you also protecting your investments. This is where I actually come in as well, protecting your investments. So for example, if you've bought a property, for example, you might want to think about home insurance. You want to think about home insurance, right? You might want to think about content insurance to insure what's in the property, and also the exterior. God forbid if your property was to catch fire.
God forbid.
God, touch wood, hopefully not. But your investment, that property is protected. Another important investment people don't think about is their lives.
Life insurance.
Get a life insurance, because only God knows what can happen tomorrow, especially if you got a family. Your life is very important. I mean, there's no value you can place on your life. There is no monetary value you can place on your life. But if you claim you love your children, if you claim you love your wife, if you claim you love your family, and you don't have a life insurance in place, because your life insurance is not for you. Your life insurance is for your loved ones. So if anything happens to you, their dream don't get shattered. Their dream actually continues, right? Two things I always say to my clients. One, there is the emotional pain of losing somebody, and there's also a financial loss. You have no control over the emotional pain. I've lost people in my life, but I've got the emotional scar is forever. However, what you do have control over is the finance of it. So if you don't take care of that means you're exposing that family to two things: emotional loss and financial loss. So if you claim you love your family, the best you could do for them is to put a life insurance in place for them. So while you're out there hustling and trying to make every other thing work, but that, God forbid, in the process of me doing this, working so hard, working 80-hour work week, whatever the case might be, if I drop dead tomorrow, I know that this amount of money is going to go to my family to continue my legacy and theirs. But I'm gonna stop there. If I have to talk more, you have to pay me.
And you know what? If you can't, I'm sure your fees aren't cheap. So this is what I'm saying, guys. This is a privilege. What we've just gotten here is almost like a sneak peek into a masterclass. It's an absolute privilege and an honor. I want to thank you again, sir, for joining us and sharing this fantastic information. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And we can catch Mr. Kazeem on the You've Seen show at 2 to 3 o'clock every Saturday. Saturday. Hopefully we can look forward to some midweek shows. Hopefully. But yeah, guys, please follow Tag Radio. As you can see, we're not just all about music and good vibes. We also give value to the community and to our listeners. Once again, I want to thank the producers and the executives of Tag Radio for supporting us and keeping this platform going. I want to thank you, the listeners, for being consistent and for rocking with us. And yeah, we're signing out. But before we leave, just to remind us, okay, 3 things. Number 1, if you're going to spend on your credit card, make sure you have the money. That's one good technique. Number two, using your credit card as a business vehicle. Purchase something that you could probably sell and make more money on than what you're spending on it. And number three, which I guess this was our bonus, insure your life so that your family have like a, what would we call it?
They have like some sort of financial security.
Financial security in case the worst
What's to happen. But those are for, life insurance. The people who've got families, you've got people that are financially dependent on you.
Yep.
It's very important for you to consider doing that. Okay. And final thing you didn't mention is read.
Yes, the most important one. That's the most important fact out of everything here today, actually. Thank you for calling me up on that. That is fantastic. Read, guys. Read. We've got 2 great books and a third bonus. Number 1, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Number 2, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And number 3, my favorite out of all of them, is The Richest Man in Babylon. I love that book. I love it. At least once every couple months I go through that book. So guys, that is a very good one, especially if you're in a place where you're struggling with your finances and you can't see a way out. I would even suggest you read that book first.
Absolutely.
It's got so many tools in there for you to work your way out. But yeah, guys, thank you, and big round of applause for our guest, Mr. Kazeem. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure talking to every one of you, and hopefully when I do come back, I will have some wonderful testimonies of how many of you have taken on board the information and you're using it for your own advantage.
Yes, we look forward to those testimonies, and by God's grace, I have a couple testimonies of my own as well. Fantastic. Well done, guys, and thank you so much. Once again, this has been the ATN show with your host, Mike Dare, and our guest, Mr. Kazeem. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the sun. The sun's out. Get your guns out, and have a great time. Bye, guys.